Welcome to the number of the day on the 27th of August, and the number is $18 billion. So if you want to know the rand value of that, about 360 billion rand. And there's been a mega development involving Meta. This is the payout. This is what Meta technically will have to hand over to 48 states in the United States. Those states have been represented by state attorneys because it has not been protecting children. So this case was brought by the states, saying that essentially there are consumer protection laws and a specific Children's Protection Act that Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, knowingly violated. Years ago, the Wall Street Journal did an investigative report and found that Facebook, or Facebook's owner, had come up with their own research, done their own research, and found that their products were harmful for children. And this is about how addictive it is for adults, never mind children, to doom scroll, and just the endless feeds that you get. It doesn't stop. You get a dopamine hit, and then of course you get those notifications that remind you throughout the day that you have some sort of message or some sort of notification. A federal judge has approved this. Now, we look at numbers, we look at the markets. What's interesting is that Meta's share price went up yesterday after this was approved. And I think the reason behind that is investors like certainty. So once there is a price tag, that is a price tag. Then everybody can move on and factor that into their calculations around Meta's performance. And $18 billion is a lot of money, but it's relatively cheap compared to what the states were asking for, which was around $200 billion. So now investors know what the damage is, as it were, and they can move on. Let's look at what has to change. Facebook and Instagram will change for kids. There'll be a 2-hour limit. So eventually it'll switch off, and that'll be done for the day. And there's actually a clause here which says that Meta only has to pay 70% unless YouTube and TikTok, YouTube owned by Alphabet, also get on board. Then Meta will pay in full, because then they will also implement 1-hour time limits. So Meta already saying to its rivals, come on, you help us protect teens. There'll be a night mode that blocks notifications during the night between midnight and 6 a.m. and then a school mode that blocks notifications between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. So some are saying, will it work? Analysts in the US saying most kids, most teens, because remember, under 13, you're not meant to even have any access to these social media apps. But most of the teenagers don't spend this amount of time. And it's still a very long time, 2 hours. But maybe it does give parents more control. And if parents don't know what they're doing, at least there are some built-in restrictions, although some of these can be done away with by the parents. So you'll have a lot of teenagers asking their parents to extend the limits. And of course, you can still have fake supervisory accounts, fake parents, and teenagers pretending they're adults. What I find really interesting here is that AI is going to help, and Meta says that artificial intelligence will help them weed out the youngsters who are teenagers but pretending to be parents. So where to from now? Remember, there's still so many concerns about the content on social media that is harmful to children and teenagers, and that includes X as well. And we have most of these huge social media bosses saying, well, it's user-generated. What can we do about that? And there has been some immunity until now, but that may still play out. Florida didn't join this settlement, with the Attorney General saying the payouts are peanuts compared to the profound harms Meta's profit-driven addictive features inflicted on kids. So he looks forward to seeing Meta at trial. So there could still be a trial. And remember, there are in fact thousands of lawsuits filed either by groups of schools, or institutions or individuals that will still play out. But for now, Meta paying $18 billion US.